My name is David Welch. I'm at Brothers Tech Center today with Sean's 1976 C10. We did a one-piece window kit. We used our long bed to short bed conversion kit. And now we're going to go ahead and lower the rear end using our drop shackle kit. This installs really nice and easy. So stay tuned. You'll find out how. So the first thing I'm going to do is show you the frame, and the reason being is that there were two different spring lengths that came with these, 52 and 56. Now it's easy to tell the difference between the two with no ruler by just climbing underneath the truck and seeing where this rear perch is attached to the frame. So right here, you'll notice that there's two holes, and there's also two more holes down there. When they made the frames, the holes were already in there for a 52 or a 56 as they needed. So here you can see this is mounted in the back. So this is a 56. If they were mounted right here, then they'd be a 52. Okay, so front holes 52, rear holes, if you will, 56. Now the reason I'm mentioning all this is that if this bracket is on the 52 and it's forward, then you don't have to worry about it hitting any of your supports underneath. But if it's a 56, then the supports underneath the bed might rub up on there and you might have to notch that out a little bit. It's not a big deal, just want to let you know about it up front. So what I've done is, in expecting of doing this job, I went ahead and put some penetrating oil on all of my joints and let that soak up for a bit. Now what we need to do when we're disengaging these is we need to make sure there isn't any tension on the spring, okay? If there's too much tension underneath, it's going to spring up. Not enough, it'll spring down. So we're going to make sure that our front has chocks on it and it's not going anywhere, front and back of your tires, left and right side. Then what I'm going to do is get the rear end jacked up and get a jack stand up underneath here. Then I'll get a jack and put it underneath the rear end, and I'm just going to lightly jack it up, and I'm just going to see when the tension of the spring comes off. Now even if you get it really close, there still might be a little bit of tension, so you still want to watch everything and count all your fingers. This is all lubed up and stuff. I'm going to go ahead and take these bolts on out, and then I'll show you what comes up next. So now we just put it back together again. I'm going to put some grease in all of these joints right here, all of my edges. Put some in here, and I'm going to install my lower one first. And you'll notice this right here is towards the spring, not towards the back. So we got the right tool for the right job. You got your washer. And then you got your nut. Now these nuts are what's known as a crush nut. So what happens when they made these from the factory, they just kind of smushed them in a little bit, and that makes it work like a lock nut. So you don't have to put a lock washer on there or anything like that. You might do it just because if they're old and tired, they kind of use the tension that holds on to everything. Now I'm just going to snug this up a little bit. I don't have it so tight that I can't move this, but I'll snug it up just a bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and line up my top. I'll get oil in here again. It's the thicker grease, like a bearing grease is what we want to use on this. And then we will just simply jack up the rear end until the holes line up and I can get my bolt in. So just give me a second here. All right, so before I put this in, I want you to notice there's two holes right here. So there is some adjustability in this. The higher you go, the lower the truck goes. So we're going to go on the top hole right here. Now I'll just go ahead and tighten them down, and then we're ready to put our bed on, see if we need to notch out the support or not, and then we'll be ready to roll. Now we did all this with the bed off just for ease of installation video for you. But you're more likely not going to be doing that at home. You're going to be climbing up underneath, and when the spring is off, that's when you would be notching out your sill plate right here. I just wanted to show you what it looked like. Now, if this was the 52 and all of this was moved forward, you could see you'd really be digging into this guy. This right here, the 56 mark, we're clearing this, but I think I'm going to notch it out just a little bit for you. This way I can show you how to do it properly at home. You don't get any stress cracks and things like that. So let me show you how to do that. Now you might think cutting into it's just not that big of a deal. I'm just going to cut and cut and cut and be done with it. Problem with that is when you cut and you have a really sharp angle like this, a 90 degrees, a lot of times what will happen here is over the years it'll start to stress crack. And then you're going to have to weld and miscellaneous things like that. So how we're going to solve that problem is that when we cut it off, we want a radius. We want a rounded edge. And then we can come down. And this way it'll just take the stress and take it along this rounded edge, and more than likely you won't get any cracking with that. So you figure out exactly how much you're going to cut off, where your rounded edges are going to be. You get yourself an 1/8 inch drill bit that so you can get a pilot, and then get this in the right spot. Go ahead and drill it out. Then I like to use a step drill for this right here because I can just keep going at the depth that I need to until I hit that radius just right. And I'll drill my holes first, and then when I cut, I'll just go right up to the edge of that, nice and ginger-like. A lot of times there's not a lot of space down there, so you might have to get something like this. Might even have to get a little Dremel, what have you, but a lot of times the bigger grinders won't get up in there. So I'm going to drill my other hole here and gingerly cut this out, and I'll show you what it looks like nice and neat when I'm done. All right, so there you have it. It's all done. I'll clean up these burrs a little bit more and maybe paint the edges so I don't have to worry about it rusting and stuff like that. But this is basically all done. The job will take you a couple of hours at best, probably not that big of a deal. And the nice thing about this is that you're maintaining the same spring rate, if you will. So if you were going to be doing towing or anything like that, that you put your skis in the back, what have you, you still got the weight capacity out of that. That's one of the reasons I like using these drop shackle kits. My name is David Welch. I'm at Brothers Tech Center every single week bolting stuff on so you can see it and look cool, man. You make sure you subscribe because next week I will be back with something else you're going to want to see, and if you miss it, your mom's going to make fun of you, man.